And I'm here this morning to testify in support of House Bill 6681. I want to thank the committee for raising this bill. And it really touches upon a lot of what the commissioner talked about this morning and the department in terms of protecting consumers from scams, including seniors as well. Let me say first that the Attorney General's office, in particular, our consumer protection folks and our finance and revenue services lawyers are extremely busy right now and not in a good way. Since M&T Bank took over People's United Bank here in Connecticut, we've been working on over 400 complaints in the Office of the Attorney General. And I'm sure many of you on this committee and the department have also seen your fair share of complaints. And while I'll acknowledge that M&T has been working directly with the Office of the Attorney General to resolve those complaints, still months later, those complaints continue and many remain unresolved. There are still residents who have powers of attorney, for example, over a parent or a loved one that can't get access to funds on deposit to make important financial transactions for the people that they care for. There are people that expect to see their paychecks directly deposited into their account and are surprised to find that that money isn't there. Or they're finding that large amounts of money suddenly disappear from their accounts and they have to fight with the bank to get the money back into their accounts. And so this is a continuing challenge for us here in the Office of the Attorney General. And we continue to have to put pressure on M&T to make it right. At the same time, as everybody knows, Stone Academy has closed, and now more than 900 nursing students are left hanging, many of whom paid tens of thousands of dollars up front, borrowed tens of thousands of dollars in student loans to try to go to school to become nurses. And now each of these students faces a crisis of how to continue their education. And they're looking to us in the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of Higher Education, the Department of Public Health, and the legislature to step in to try to protect them and to help them continue their studies and recoup the investment that they've made in their education. And then, of course, on top of our work in protecting the students at Stone, I see my friends from AARP in the room and the red shirts. I want to thank the committee for focusing on the exploitation of seniors. Every single day in the Office of the Attorney General, we receive complaints about fraud, financial fraud, and abuse, particularly against older Americans and senior citizens here in Connecticut. And so when you think about just those three examples of the work that we do in the Office of the Attorney General, I think if you asked residents here in Connecticut anywhere, they would want the state of Connecticut acting through the Attorney General to have the full range of power and authority and tools at our disposal to protect consumers and families here in Connecticut. And what the federal government did in the wake of the financial crisis in passing the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act was to create the Consumer Financial Protection Act and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And as part of the CFPA expressly delegates authority to the states, acting through its attorneys general, to enforce the terms of the CFPA and to use federal law to protect depositors at M&T, to protect students at Stone Academy, and to protect seniors that are victims of fraud and abuse, and so many others. And under the CFPA, right now, the Attorney General can go after and sue a bad actor, a financial institution, a bank, a lender, for abusing consumers, and then can get information in discovery. What is not clear is whether we can first serve a subpoena before we file suit to get information to determine whether a lawsuit is appropriate. So it's a little bit cockeyed, if I might say, that the law creates a system where we have to sue first before we can investigate, whereas in the normal course in our consumer protection work, you would want to investigate first before we sue. So we're asking the committee simply in this bill to make sure that it's clear in state statute that the Attorney General's office has the ability to conduct a thorough investigation first, to serve subpoenas, to propound interrogatories, to examine witnesses, and then decide whether a lawsuit is necessary. It's a very simple bill. It fills, I don't want to call it an enforcement gap so much as we already have the enforcement authority, but it spells out and clarifies our enforcement authority so that the Attorney General's office and the state of Connecticut can be there for consumers and for depositors and residents. And with that, Madam Chair, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.